listening to Race Day Live on Downforce UK, brought to you by Clapham North MOT, Motorsport Days Live, Stopwatch Hospitality, and Trade Price Cars.
Hello everybody and welcome to the West of Scotland Karting Club. It is Larkhall in Scotland and we have a very exciting battle in front of us. It is the fifth round of the 2019 Motorsport UK British Kart Championships for the IAME categories, and we have four sensational finals coming up over the course of the day for IAME, Junior, Senior and Mini X30s. It's going to be a really exciting battle with the cadets starting us up. Jake Sanson and Kai Bacchini in the commentary box overlooking the start-finish straight here at the gorgeous Larkhall circuit. It is going to be quite the day, and it's great to be joined by someone who's been competing in the 2019 championships for the first two rounds. Kai, these are the sorts of conditions looking over the circuit. There is rain clouds in the air, there's rain starting to fall. The difficulty is, what sort of tyres do you go for in this sort of situation? Do you go dries, do you go wets?
I think it's a very damp track, so we will see the drivers go for the slick tyres because it's not wet enough for the wet compounded tyres, but it will prove a challenge because the tyres will slide all over the place because they won't get as much heat as they hope they will get in the dry because it is very damp on track.
Now, you raced here last year in the British Championships when the circuit was very different. There's been some major changes, though, to the layout, and we've already seen over the course of the heat so far, drivers are finding grip very difficult. When it's greasy and on brand new tarmac, it can be very tricky for the drivers to get to know the circuit.
Yeah, and it's a brand new circuit, so that does mean it'll prove a different challenge to the drivers. Obviously, it's very new, so most of the drivers, this will have been their first weekend, or they would have had some practice before this weekend. But most of the drivers, this will be their first weekend racing around it, and I think we will see a lot of action.
And you've been speaking to a few of the IAME cadet drivers as they prepare for racing. What is the general mood? Is there an anticipation, or are there quite a few long faces as they try and figure out what's going to happen next?
I think most drivers are very excited to learn the challenges of the new track and try and get the best results they can get. Most of the drivers I've been talking to are very happy with the new track. They're happy with the improvements and they're raring to go for this race.
So we've got 90 seconds before the IAME Cadet final kicks off. It's Aidan Neate and Kian Nakamura-Berta on the front row of the grid. Aidan Neate's been particularly consistent here this time, and he's really starting to show in this, moving into the second half of the season now, that he genuinely has a shot at the title. For Kian Nakamura-Berta, he's got a real task on his hands to hang on to the lead of the championship from that front row of the grid. But one guy for me they've all got to watch out for, Kai, is the local man, Harry Junior Burgoyne. Fourth on the grid, he knows this place like the back of his hand. He's got the advantage here, surely.
Yeah, you would think that the Scotsman would have the advantage around this track, and he'll probably have more practice than the other drivers. He is also part of the Oliver Rowland Motorsport team, which is a very experienced team. They've got a very good driver running the team, very good team boss, and I think he definitely has a chance of winning it this round.
And we're going to see some very exciting battles in the midfield as well. There are a few drivers slowly out of position. How Brandon Carr has managed to fight his way back through the field, though, to be on the same row of the grid as Vinnie Phillips has been amazing. He told me earlier they made a bit of a mistake in qualifying, but they've brought it back very quickly. Harley Keeble is doing well there in fifth position, with Maximus Hall again up in the top six. Third position for the Gladiator on the starting grid for this one. He's going to be absolutely magic to watch. Maybe this is the weekend when the bad luck finally deserts him.
Yeah, he's a very experienced driver and definitely capable of getting that race win. I think this might be the weekend where he will get the race win. He's very fast, he's got a lot of pace. It will just be a question of where will he be able to get his final race win of the British Champs.
There are a few other drivers that have made some good progress, but now the green flag flies on the edge of the pit lane, so it's time to send them out onto the circuit. Aidan Neate and Kian Nakamura-Berta from the front row, Maximus Hall and Harry Junior Burgoyne on the second row from Harley Keeble and Nathan Tye. Then Ethan Jeff Hall and Archie Clark. To round out the top 10, it's Lewis Werrell and Vinnie Phillips. Then Brandon Carr and MJ Canini from Macaulay Bishop and Cathal Clark. Then Finn McLaughlin and Sonny Smith with Alex O'Grady and Paddy Mamassi, the Canadian, with Will Knight and Eden Spanswick, Zach Knight and Lewis Bird. Rounding out the field, it's Ella Stevens and Dan Sofronia. 30 drivers as they battle away for position in the IAME Cadet final, and it's going to be very tricky, especially now the rain has started to fall exactly as the drivers have been sent out onto the circuit. So the rain is coming down now as the competitors are out on circuit, and there's a big balance here of drivers. Well, I think all of them will be on slick tyres, because this is the difficult part of the situation the drivers have, is that the circuit is not wet enough really for the wet tyre, but it's definitely not dry enough for the slicks either.
Yeah, and with the extra bit of rain coming down, it will definitely be damp for the start of the race. The drivers, it looks like they will have 2 rolling laps. They will struggle for a lot of grip, and this is what will bring the best out of the field and the worst to the back.
Now, you have driven these IAME Cadet karts before in these conditions when it's not quite raining enough to be wet and not quite dry enough to be slick. So what exactly do you have to do as a driver to roll with the changes, and how diverse as a stance do you have to take when you're out there?
I think you need to push as hard as possible and attack the corners as much as possible, but you also need to be very careful on the throttle, because the throttle is the main thing that will make your back end kick out. You need to be very patient and feather the throttle through the corners, and then that will set you onto the race win, and be consistent with your lap times.
So it's going to be a really tough challenge for all of the competitors. The IAME Cadet final is about to get underway, but it's raining and it's still a very dry-ish circuit, so it's going to get very slippery over the course of the race. 15 minutes on the clock. It's round 5 of the 2019 British Kart Championships in IAME Cadet. Jake Sanson and Kai Bacchini with you up in the commentary position up at the top end of the straight. It's going to be very tricky from the start. Aidan Neate and Kier Nakamura-Berta on the front row. Maximus Hall and Harry Junior Burgoyne on the second. From Keeble, Ty, Jeff Hall, Clark, Werrell and Phillips, with Brandon Carr, MJ Canini, Macaulay Bishop and Cahill Clark in pursuit. A few others trying to fight their way through. Finn McLaughlin and Sonny Smith will definitely be worth a watch. We're going to wait for the red lights to go out. They do, and we're racing up to the first corner, and Aidan Neate and Maximus Hall have made the best jump forward as they try to assert themselves in the first lap, and it looks to me as though Maximus Hall has launched into second position. They go out of our sight now, behind the motorhomes and up towards the chicane and that very tight new hairpin on the far side. They'll come back into our view as they come up the straight on the back side of the circuit. And at the front of the field, it is Aidan Neate. And in second place, Maximus Hall has got challenge up the inside. That is Harley Keeble trying to come through into second place. And he has got there. So Harley Keeble into second. And up to third, that's Ethan Jeff Hall. A great start from Jeff Hall as they go into the hairpin. The tight hairpin on the infield for the first time. And there's a few battles, a few challenges. But so far, it's Keeble up to second behind Aidan Neate. Kier Nakamura-Berta has fallen to fourth position behind Ethan Jeff Hall. A very fast start for the Strawberry Racing driver. And in fifth position, that is Maximus Hall. And here comes Harry Junior Burgoyne for a chance to go into fifth position in the final corner, and he's going to take it. Lovely move.
Yeah, watch out for Ethan Jeff Hall, though. He is very good in these conditions. And we have Lewis Werrell and Brandon Carr, the 2 ORM drivers, having a very good battle. And it'll be interesting to watch them through the race to see who is victorious through that scrap.
So Aidan Neate leads at the end of the first lap from Harley Keeble and Ethan Jeff Hall, then Kier Nakamura-Berta and Harry Junior Burgoyne. Then it's Maximus Hall, Brandon Carr, Lewis Werrell, Archie Clark and Finn McLaughlin to round out the top 10. In front of that superb privateer, Macaulay Bishop, still hanging it out there in the top 10 in this 2019 championship. Now Maximus Hall is working with Harry Junior Burgoyne in their fight to close up to the top 4 once again. And up in 7th position, that is Brandon Carr. What a comeback he's made this weekend. The 43 Archie Clark is in the mix there as well. So far, everybody's made it through that first lap. Very tricky conditions as Ethan Jeff Hall works with Harley Keeble. They have caught up to Aidan Neate already. Now we're really going to get a show.
Yep, Ethan Jeff Hall working together with Harley Keeble to try and catch up to Aidan Neate. Aidan Neate, we know, is a very quick driver, but he is getting challenged a lot as Harley Keeble did make a move around that final corner, and now it's Ethan Jeff Hall who will be on the attack of Aidan Neate. It'll be interesting to see who can make the move. When will he be able to make it?
So Harley Keeble taking the lead out of the final turn. As Kai mentioned, really good move there from Harley as he dives into the final corner and grabs the advantage. I think Ethan Jeff Hall was able to get through for second position as well into the first corner. So that's really going to compromise Aidan Neate's rhythm in this early part of the race. Yes, indeed. Ethan Jeff Hall now to second position, and up to fourth position comes Kier Nakamura-Berta, who makes the move back on one of the ORM carts. That's Harry Junior Burgoyne. Maximus Hall has slipped now behind Brandon Carr. They slam on the brakes and get into that very tight hairpin. But now Harley Keeble leading Ethan Jeff Hall. But for how much longer? There are more overtaking opportunities around this circuit in IAME Cadet than there are in the other classes, as Sonny Smith has had a moment there. And poor Dan Sofronea, the 45, has to slam on the brakes to avoid hitting him in the back bumper. And the 29 has gone. That's Finn McLaughlin. So 2 of the front runners have ended up falling off the order there. Finn McLaughlin and Sonny Smith. So big problems for them. Round 5 is a bit of a nightmare for those two.
Yeah, it's very tricky conditions, so I don't blame them for making a mistake. Even if I was racing, I'd probably make a couple of mistakes around this brand new track. But Ethan Jeff Hall around this brand new Larkhall circuit, it seems to be suiting him perfectly.
And so far, so good for the 30 drivers who are competing. No change at all at the moment in terms of the running order. The 30 drivers are still circulating. Ethan Jeff Hall looking for make his move on the inside of Keeble. He doesn't make the move on the inside in the end, but Brandon Carr and Lewis Werrell both get up the inside of Maximus Hall, and now Archie Clark's got an opportunity to tuck his way to the inside line. Maximus Hall makes his move on the inside of the banked hairpin at the edge of the lap, and Lewis Werrell not only lets Maximus Hall go, but Archie Clark as well. And there's a great battle for the lead. 5 of them in it now, as Aidan Neate has been caught by teammate Kier Nakamura-Berta. They've both tightened up to Keebs and 18 Ethan Jeff Hall. And in 5th position, that's Harry Junior Burgoyne. This is a 5-car race for the victory, and I have a feeling that we could even see the likes of Carr, Hall and Clark make their way up to the back of it.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see who makes their way up to the back of this battle. It's now 5 carts for the lead of the race, which makes it that little bit more interesting, and that does mean that one mistake that you make is one or more places that you lose.
And Aidan Neate's going to make the move for second on Ethan Jeff Hall, and he gets there. So into P2 goes Aidan Neate, and now there's going to be a chance for Kier Nakamura-Berta. He makes the move on the inside. The door's still open. Harry Junior Burgoyne takes full advantage. Into P4 he goes. Very nice opportunistic manoeuvre from the Scotsman. And so now it's ORM, Fusion ORM at the top end, with Strawberry Racing's Ethan Jeff Hall in 5th place. And Brandon Carr has now joined the back of the queue in 6th position. What a comeback from the man who was in about 26th after qualifying. And now Keebs is trying to get the run on Neate. Kier Nakamura-Berta is going to get a lovely run out of the final turn. The teammates are going to go side by side through the first corners, and Kier Nakamura-Berta gets through. And I think Aidan Neate ran wide there over the curbs. So there could be a major problem for Aidan Neate. We'll have to double check the order as they come back through, but if you get wide on those curbs on the exit of the first couple of corners, it's really not going to go your way. So as they come through, out the back straight, it is a very lovely run from Harley Keeble, who continues to lead. Where is Aidan Neate? He's down to 6th position, so he did have a major problem there. But now it's up to Kier Nakamura-Berta to make the ultimate move for the lead of the race, as Jeff Hall makes the move on Harry Junior Burgoyne, and Brandon Carr's going to get through as well into 4th.
Yeah, and if you hit these curbs at the wrong angle around this Larkhall circuit, the curbs are so lethal. If you just hit them at the wrong angle, that will send you really wide, and that will lose you so many positions. Maybe even up to a massive train go from the front right to the back.
So out of the final turn, and Keebs is there leading the race still, with Kier Nakamura-Berta in 2nd place. Ethan Jeff Hall, Brandon Carr, Burgoyne, then Neate and Maximus Hall, all running in almost in unison as they run nose to tail. The man making the most progress through the field further back is Mason Rudman, has made up 8 places. Brandon Carr up 7, of course. However, no one's made more progress than Ella Stevens. She's made up 11 to go up to 12th position. So a really good fight back from Ella Stevens. I'm sure racing in the W Series, Alice Powell will be very proud of her progress when she hears about it, as they come off the right-hander into the infield section once again, with Kier Nakamura-Berta now leading the race in front of Harley Keeble. So he must have made the move on the far side of the circuit. But Kier Nakamura-Berta now leads the race from Harley Keeble. Keeble's going to make his opportune move into the next hairpin, I think, as they come off the turn. Some really good racing, and there's a little bit of a problem for 15 Mason Rudman. Rudman's gone wide. Unfortunately, that's going to drop him back through the order, and Keeble goes for the lead. Keeble goes for the lead in the final turn and gets past Kier Nakamura-Berta as Burgoyne gets past Carr and Neate. And Neate is run out of road. Maximus Hall gets through in a 6th place. Great battling in IAME Cadet.
Yep, amazing battle for the lead. Now we have so many carts battling for that first position. It's just starting to get to that point where everyone is battling, and this is where it starts to split up. We may have 6 now, but it'll turn into about 3 later on when they start battling.
We are at the halfway point of the race now as well. 7.5 down, 7.5 to go, and Ethan Jeff Hall has crept back into 2nd position. What a squabble's coming towards us now as they battle for 4th position. Harry Junior Burgoyne now P4, tucks in behind Kier Nakamura-Berta. 5th position for Maximus Hall. Then the 5 is in there. That is Aidan Neate in front of Brandon Carr. Who's going to make the ultimate move? It's Kier Nakamura-Berta, who gets on the inside of Ethan Jeff Hall, and there's room for Harry Junior Burgoyne to come through as well into 3rd position. Now Maximus Hall's going to tag onto the back of Ethan Jeff Hall and start making the bid to move up to 4th position, but Jeff Hall's going to make the move first on the inside. Maximus Hall will get the same bit of space, and they run wide. Harry Junior Burgoyne manages to get back on track, but Aidan Neate's going to try and hold it round the outside. Surely his earlier trip into the curbs has taught him that's not going to work, and he hangs back and allows Harry Junior Burgoyne to get the place. But this is absolutely no nonsense, no holds barred action from IAME Cadet. Normally we have a real ebb and flow. This time it is literally absolutely no nonsense, and backs to the wall all the way. As now we've got Kia Nakamura Berta chasing after Harley Keeble as they come into the infield section and they pass our position.
Yep, and this may be one of the lowest classes, but it's definitely one of the highest bits of racing that I've seen. It's amazing racing from these three, as Maximus Hall is up in a third position past Ethan Jeff Hall. Ethan Jeff Hall will be fighting straight back, though. He'll be on the attack and try and make that move on Maximus Hall.
Yeah, Maximus Hall has been desperate for a British Championship podium all season, and it really looks as though he's got a good chance of it this time as he gets right up close to Keeble and Nakamura Berta at the front of the field. Maximus Hall's got a great chance here in third position. He's running beautifully in front of Ethan Jeff Hall, who was also having a really great run. Not the best of weekends for a few drivers, though. Unfortunately, Sonny Smith, Mondi Junior Canini, all struggling, as well as his Cahill Clark, who started earlier up the order. So some big problems there, but Ellis Stevens is still up about 10 places, has lost a place on the last tour, but there's still some really good action from the competitors. And now they get up towards the infield section. Once again, Aidan Neat making the lunge up in the inside to fifth position. No, sorry, P6 on the inside of Brandon Carr. And now it is these five all battling away. 4 different teams in the top 4 places. How about that? That doesn't happen very often in IAME Cadet, as Nakamura Berta continues to try and open up the gap with Harley Keeble up front. Third position, that is the 6 of Maximus Hall. And then in fourth place is Ethan Jeff Hall for Strawberry Racing. You don't often get 4 different squads in the top 4 places. That's how competitive Larkhall is proving to be.
Yep, and they normally say that ORM and Fusion is dominating, but Maximus Hall and Ethan Jeff Hall are there to prove that they're not straight in the mix to try and battle with those two, and they will definitely be within a chance of getting the win.
But that fifth man in the equation, Harry Junior Burgoyne, he's definitely the danger man for me. He knows the track incredibly well, so we have to see how things progress from that point of view. It is going to be very tricky and treacherous all the way through this race, as these two dice for position up at the sharp end of the field. Kia Nakamura Berta running very well in the lead of the race again in front of Harley Keeble. Now we've got Ethan Jeff Hall starting to make his bid in fourth position onto the back of Maximus Hall. They come off the hairpin. Brandon Carr meanwhile gets the move on Archie Clark, but the 7 is not able to repeat the feat. Vinnie Phillips has to get boxed in behind. Macaulay Bishop's joined the fray now, in there with Lewis Werrell, and there goes the 7 up the inside. A lovely move as Brandon Carr is crowded out. First Archie Clark, then Vinnie Phillips get the move, and for the lead Harley Keeble takes it on the inside line as Kia Nakamura Berta goes wide and Maximus Hall into second position. Maximus Hall is 1 away from the victory, and he's only got 4 minutes to make the move.
Yep, Maximus Hall, 4 minutes left. He's going to be straight on the attack on Harley Keeble. Hopefully he can make that move as soon as possible, and I think he's definitely capable of getting the win. Let's just see what happens.
This is a very different kind of IAME Cadet race. Normally it's very balanced and controlled, and by this point of the race there's an awful lot of hard work going on. Now it's literally just desperation as they clutch at straws for the lead of the race. It's changing all the time, and here comes Harley Keeble with out in behind him Maximus Hall. Hall is going to try and make the move. I wonder if he's going to save it for the last corner of the last lap, because if he's still in second place, that's going to be the ultimate chance to go for it. Ethan Jeff Hall has managed to get back through, and Harry Junior Burgoyne as Kia Nakamura Berta makes the lunge on Maximus Hall and gets back into second position. Now Harry Junior Burgoyne in the momentum switch nearly gets a move on Ethan Jeff Hall, hasn't quite been able to get the job done, and now Maximus Hall gets back on the inside of Kia Nakamura Berta. They need to be careful because Harley Keeble is in danger of running away. Kia Nakamura Berta slips to fifth. Ethan Jeff Hall cuts to the inside line of Maximus Hall. They're going to go 3 wide for second place, and Maximus Hall is crowded out. Down to 7th position goes the Gladiator. So Ethan Jeff Hall and I think Harry Junior Burgoyne are both going to make the space to come into second and third position. Devastating for Maximus Hall, but he's not out of it. There's still plenty of time. 2 minutes and 40 on the clock with change. Harley Keeble, though, has got a bit of drama as Harry Junior Burgoyne is now second. Third position, is that Aidan Neat who's come back into it? Yes, it is. And now Maximus Hall makes mincemeat of Kia Nakamura Berta out of the right-hander, and into the left he gets Ethan Jeff Hall as well. Maximus Hall still fighting hard in fourth position. This is surely going to be his weekend. He's been fighting so hard to get himself into that top 3, and he's not taking defeat lying down.
Yep, he will definitely not let that go easily. He'll be straight on the attack, trying to catch onto the back of Aidan Neat. This is the weekend, but here comes even Jeff Hall, and that lets Kia Nakamura Berta have a little go. But with 2 minutes remaining, this will be interesting to see who is able to take this win.
Well, Kian Nakamura-Berta managed to turn that momentum into a run on Ethan Jeff Hall and got through as well. So some brilliant racing at the front end. So it's Keeble, Burgoyne, Neat, Jeff Hall, Nakamura-Berta, Maximus Hall and Vinnie Phillips at the sharp end. Then Clark, Carr, Bishop, Werrell, Ty, Stevens, Smith, Canini, Cahill Clark from Howdy Mamassi, Alex O'Grady and Eden Spanswick from Zach Knight, Mason Rudman, Will Knight and co. And still not a single retirement from the race. In treacherous conditions, these guys have done an amazing job in IAME Cadet. And now second, Harry Junior Burgoyne slides around as the wet part of the circuit is getting a little bit tougher to handle. Aidan Neat cuts through on the inside of Harry Junior Burgoyne, who dives back on the inside for the hairpin. So Aidan Neat hangs on to that third position for the time being. Fourth is Nakamura-Berta, fifth is Ethan Jeff Hall, sixth is Maximus Hall. Back to the final turn, and with a minute on the clock, they're only going to get another couple of laps of this, but Harley Keeble said to me on the grid, I am going to win this one, I can feel it, and he's certainly going the right way about it at the moment. He's having an absolutely lovely run from Burgoyne, Neat, Nakamura-Berta, Jeff Hall, Maximus Hall, Vinnie Phillips, Archie Clark and Brandon Carr, with rounding out the top 10, Macaulay Bishop. He's always in the mix there, that privateer. He's been absolutely incredible. As they come back towards us, this is still ridiculously competitive and highly unpredictable.
With one more lap left to go after this lap, this will be definitely interesting. A massive battle for the lead now, as it looks like Harry Junior Burgoyne's going to have a little look up the inside. Will he be able to make the move stick though? Yes, he will. But that does mean that Harley Keeble will drop down in third, but he's straight on the attack on Aidan Neat, and he will make that move stick.
That's a brilliant run from Harry Junior Burgoyne, and he hits the front with a lap and a half of the race to go nearly. Absolutely terrific stuff. So his local knowledge counting. I think they're going to get another lap in, you know. They're going to cross the line and there's going to be a handful of seconds. 2 laps to go, not 1 lap to go, as Harry Junior Burgoyne hits the front on home soil. Then it's Neat, Keeble, Nakamura-Berta, Maximus Hall, Ethan Jeff Hall from Vinnie Phillips, Archie Clark, Brandon Carr and Macaulay Bishop. Werrell, Smith, Canini, Stevens, Ty, Cahill Clark and Howdy Mamassi. An amazing run, as this is easily one of the best IAME Cadet finals of the season, if not any season, as they continue to charge on the back straight. Neat's going to get the move on the inside into the right hand of the second section, and he's through. Aidan Neat hits the front. He's back to the lead again after all of that hard work. He has got himself back into the lead, and now holding off Harry Junior Burgoyne. Nakamura-Berta gets to the inside line, and now Keeble gets through in a third position as well. So Harry Junior Burgoyne has to hang back. Maximus Hall back up into 5th place past Ethan Jeff Hall. This last lap's going to be epic.
Talking about Max and Ethan Jeff Hall, if they're not careful up at the front, if they don't start working together, it looks like Max will be right on the back of them. Wow. And this is where it starts to get messy, as it looks like Neat's going to go into the lead, and here comes Maximus all straight on the attack, trying to get into that top 3 podium position. Amazing
defence from Aidan Neat as they go into the final lap. He hung onto the inside line of the hairpin, and now Nakamura-Berta, Burgoyne, Keeble, Hall and Jeff Hall are all in the mix. It's going to be an absolute squabble to the finish line. 6 of them will dice for victory as they come up the back straight. This is going to be one heck of a run. Who's going to hang on to the lead? Then looks like there's been a bit of a squabble at the chicane. Aidan Neat is there. 2 of them are missing. Nakamura-Berta's missing. Kian Nakamura-Berta's gone from the fray. Aidan Neat leads the race from Burgoyne and Maximus Hall. Keeble is there in 4th position. There's still a bit of time for this to change, but there's no Nakamura-Berta and there's no Harley Keeble. Oh no, Keeble is there in 4th place. My apologies. But Burgoyne is in 2nd place. Nakamura-Berta has gone in terms of the championship fight. That is massive. But can Harry Junior Burgoyne grab the victory? He's on the back of Aidan Neat. He goes defensive. Aidan Neat to the inside line. Burgoyne cuts back, but Aidan Neat's going to get the job done, and it means the world to him. Aidan Neat grabs it from Harry Junior Burgoyne and Maximus Hall. At the timing line, apparently Neat is behind Burgoyne, but we saw for a fact that Neat was ahead of Burgoyne. Absolutely amazing. Oh my word, what a final lap. But it's devastating for Kian Nakamura-Berta, who recovers to 10th position. Brandon Carr dropped back to 8th, so those are the 2 that must have got het up in all of that. But what a drive from Aidan Neat. Harry Junior Burgoyne and Maximus Hall, though, heroes of the hour. What a drive in amongst the top end.
Amazing drive from all drivers, but a special shout out to Maximus Hall. Amazing drive. He was down in 6th position on that second last lap, but made it up to 3rd in the last lap. Absolutely beautiful driving.
Some amazing work from so many competitors in the field there. Harry Junior Burgoyne on home soil grabs a 2nd place finish from what I saw over the line. It says that there were 0.05 separated at the finish in Burgoyne's favour on the timing screen. I think that's going to be investigated and addressed, because what we saw Neat was definitely slightly ahead. But there's no doubt Maximus Hall crossing the line in third position. Harley Keeble fourth from Ethan Jeff Hall and Vinnie Phillips. Good fight back from Vinnie. Lewis Worrell and Brandon Carr, Macaulay Bishop and Kian Nakamura-Berta. Archie Clark down to 11th in all of that. Sonny Smith in front of Ellis Stevens, who made up 10 places, more than any other driver. Nathan Ty and Cahill Clark from MJ Canini and Alex O'Grady. Then Spanswick, Zach Knight, Mamasi, McLaughlin, Will Knight, Mason Rudman, Dan Sofranea, Sky Parker, Jack Cunningham, Fraser Anderson, Lewis Bird, Ben Smith and George Edgar. And may I say, that's all 30 starters. All of them finished, and they were all covered by a little under half a minute. That was absolutely incredible. What a way to start the weekend in terms of the finals. One of the best IAME Cadet finals I've ever seen, and certainly the best this season.
Yep, amazing final from the IAME Cadets. It will be interesting to watch the minis coming up next, because another very action-packed category.
Yes, indeed, the minis always give good value for money, and in terms of the battle we're going to see today, it's not very clear who is going to be at the sharp end of the field. But I tell you what, this title fight is already looking pretty spicy in Mini X30 this year. We've seen some pretty spectacular performances from the competitors in Mini X30 so far this season. Coming into this fifth round of the championship, Greenall has 237. That's Oliver Greenall on 237 points. Alfie Rigby has 236. Bart Harrison has 235. Luke Watts has 233. Dan Bolton has 230, and Theo Makuris and Olivia Algieri and Ed Pearson all have 229. So after 2 weekends, Mini X30 is without a doubt the closest and most competitive championship in the Motorsport UK British Kart Championships this season, and we still haven't got a clue who's going to win the championship.
Yeah, very close championship, and no idea who's going to win the championship. It's all up for grabs, and I think Cian Shields will definitely be a one to watch out for in this category around the Larkhall track.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how the competitors go. Is Cian Shields in the minis, or is he the juniors these days, isn't he? We can't keep track of when they change classes. He was very quick as a mini. You're going to see him as a junior later on, but the battle in this one is going to be quite tight. Ed Pearson, in particular, has looked very strong this weekend in the Mini X30 class, and I have a feeling he's not going to be satisfied with anything other than a win today.
Yeah, I think Pearson will definitely be looking for the win, and I think he's definitely capable of. Watching the heats earlier, has a lot of pace, and I think he will be able to snatch a win off Luke Watts in this race.
But obviously we've got this same situation that we had at the start of the season at PF International, where we've got a greasy, dryish circuit and the rain's still threatening to come down heavily in a downpour, but it's not actually raining heavily enough to consider wet tyres. So you've got that difficult balance there. The driver's obviously having to use slicks. You've got no choice in these situations. So the difficulty you then have, essentially, is, what do you do in terms of strategy? Do you go hard and go very, very fast at the first part of the race and get a good track position? Or do you balance it out? Do you wait and then see what happens? Well, how would you go about it?
I think you definitely need to push hard at the start to try and get some track position, and then just stay out of any scraps that are happening on track, see what happens, because no doubt about it, there will be some drama and someone will probably come off in the hack.
You've got to remember as well that the way that the first 4 rounds of the championship have gone, you go from Oliver Greenall in the lead of the championship down to Ashton Parsons on 186 of the competitors that are here this weekend. There is still only 51 points separating them all. It's incredibly close this season after just 2 weekends of racing. Everybody's had some good fortune. Everybody's had some bad luck in the first 2 weekends. So nobody's taken the dominant streak. It's going to be very, very tight over the course of the season. I'm not sure in Mini X30 we're actually going to see one driver take the advantage and go away and run with it. We've seen in a couple of the other classes across not just the IAME weekend but the Rotax and TKM ones as well. There's 2 or 3 drivers that have really gained an upper hand and started to stretch away. In Mini X30 it's so close you genuinely can't pick a certain one driver over another who's going to be dominant.
No, I think all drivers definitely have a chance of winning that title in the Mini X30 class. All fast enough to do it, but it'll be just a question of when and where will people get the results.
Well, this is an opportunity for Alfie Rigby, who of course starts the final from pole position. Luke Watts in second place. They're given the green flag to head out on circuit, so we'll talk you through the grid in full. Alfie Rigby for KR Sport and pole position. Luke Watts second for Cato Motorsport. Jessica Edgar third for Fusion. Ed Pearson fourth for Coles. Then Oliver Greenall, championship leader by 1 point, is fifth on the grid from Gabriel Stilt for Crop Promotion. Theo Makuris, his teammate, is in seventh from Dan Bolton, the man who dramatically won at PF International. Then Bart Harrison and Olivia Algieri with Evan Brown, Aidan Lyne and Ashton Parsons in the mix. Only 13 of them, but they are ridiculously close after 2 weekends. And even this final is so unpredictable. I pick about 9 drivers on this grid who could win this race.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. It's a very close category, and all of them have a chance of winning. It will just be a question of who will pick the result where, and I think all are capable, and we'll see a massive battle for that lead, maybe even bigger than the cadets, but it will be interesting to see how the race unfolds.
Of course, the biggest thing about the battle with Mini X30 is that the karts are bigger than those IAME cadets we've had before, so obviously they're going to have a lot of hard work to make those overtaking moves. The bigger the kart, the tougher the overtaking move. And that means that these guys have got to be really calculated about where and when they make the move, which is 10 times harder to predict how it's going to work, because every lap in these conditions, with rain threatening to fall, then it falls a little bit, then it stops. The track changes every single lap pretty much, and as a result, one lap you think the move is on, the next lap it probably isn't because of the lack of grip you've got in the braking zone, so it changes all the time.
Yeah, I think all the drivers just need to be aware of the weather around them. I think all are capable of keeping it on track, even if it just rains a little bit. All you need to do is just control the kart for that section of rain, and then just push hard when it starts to dry out.
This is quickly turning into the most exciting, the most enthralling weekend of the season, and there's no surprise that it's happening at the West of Scotland Kart Club. Larkhall has a massive history of great motorsport. They've produced some of the most incredible motor racing drivers of the last 30 years. Alan McNish, David Coulthard, Dario and Marino Franchitti, the rest of family. There's so many big names that have come through from the West of Scotland Kart Club and are still coming through. It always provides drama. It always provides action. And in Mini X30 in this season, this could be the race of the year. Here they come. Is it going to be a clean start? Certainly is. Away they go. And flying through to the first corner. It's a cracking start from the inside line from Alfie Rigby as he charges through. Luke Watts has tucked right in second position, trying to get himself down into the braking zone. Clean start from them. Jessica Edgar looked a little bit squeezed in there as Ed Pearson and Oliver Greenall immediately started to make progress as they come off the hairpin out of our sight. Down past the motorhomes, they come back into view, and it's still this amazing tussle between Rigby and Watts. Third position, that's Jessica Edgar. Oliver Greenall has got into fourth place now, so Greenall is already starting to attack Edgar. Theo McCurris has made an amazing start. He's up to fifth position from seventh already. Cracking start from Theo as Ed Pearson is down to sixth, and there's an almighty squabble for eighth position as trying to cut through. That's Olivia Algieri making the move on Dan Bolton. A really nice battle in the mid-pack. Absolutely fantastic. Great squabbles all the way through. Bart Harrison really struggling as he drops down to 11th position. I was going to say 12th, but he picks up another one in the final turn on Evan Brown. So it's Rigby, Watts, Edgar, Greenall, McCurris, Pearson and Stilt. Olivia Algieri going well in front of Bolton, Lyne, Harrison, Brown and Parsons. But Rigby and Watts are going to have a real problem with Greenall and McCurris on their tail.
Yep, Greenall and McCurris, two very fast drivers and two capable of being up there in the championship. It will just be a question of where will they be able to get the results. And
Greenall's gone for it. Greenall's gone for Edgar.
Yep, and that will be an interesting move. And I think we will see a battle between those two trying to make the championship get alive. Jessica Edgar looks for the move but not able to make it stick.
Yeah, she's down to sixth now. McCurris has got through into fourth position, and up to fifth has gone Ed Pearson. So Jess Edgar down to P6 now as the leaders are tightening up, and into second place. Is it for Greenall? No, Watts shuts the door beautifully in the final corner. That was not easy to hold on to. When Oliver Greenall's on the inside line, the move is almost guaranteed, but Watts managing to shut the door very decisively there. That was very, very disciplinarian indeed from him, and he manages to make the move look oh so easy as they come back up the back straight once again. Moving up towards the braking zone for that square right-hander that takes you to the new section. Greenall this time gets the move on the inside of Watts, and it's clean and it's through and into second place. Charging after his main rival in the championship now, Alfie Rigby. But as they continue to battle, things are going to get very tricky over the course of the rest of the race. Watts is third, Pearson's now fourth in front of McCurris. Up to seventh place, it looks like Gabriel Stilp has made the move on Olivia Algieri. But the top six are all very tight as they come to the final corner again.
Yep, it will be interesting to see this battle unfold as Alfie Rigby is under a lot of pressure from Oliver Greenall behind him, but Luke Watts will not let that go easily, but he also has Ed Pearson, Theo McCurris right behind him, so he needs to be careful.
So no major catastrophes for the drivers so far. In terms of retirements, we haven't had one from the finals yet in either of the two races for IAME Cadet or Mini X30. Great to see that everybody's sticking to the road like glue. As another move up the inside, this time it's Pearson on Watts. And Pearson gets through. Nice overtake from Ed Pearson. They are looking so much more confident in the Coles Cap as Greenall goes for the lead on Rigby and gets there. Lovely job. And also, the teammates go to battle further back. That's Algieri on Gabriel Stilt, and he gets through. So Ed Pearson's now tied up behind Alfie Rigby on the exit. Edgar's getting back into it. She's made the move on McCurris and now challenging after Luke Watts into the braking zone for the hairpin. She thinks better of it. That was very high risk.
Yep, just like one of those drivers who will go for the risks and try and make them stick. She's definitely capable of being up there, but I think she's just getting unlucky with the results. It will be interesting to see how many overtakes she's able to make in this race, though.
Well, Oliver Greenall and Alfie Rigby are now fighting for the championship at the front end of the field. Greenall, of course, leading the points tally by just 1 point. Bart Harrison looking to lose big style. Ed Pearson makes his move, charges through in a second, and Edgar charges through to fourth at the same time. Lovely job from both of them. And now Rigby's going to go high side on Pearson. They bang wheels in the braking zone and through to fourth position goes Luke Watts. McCurris up to fifth, and Edgar is punted down to sixth position, essentially, shuffled down the deck. Make that seventh now as on the inside. 38, Olivia Algieri gets through. She will not let Gabriel Stilt get through on the inside and cuts across nicely to hold on to seventh position. But there's still 8 of them in the mix. Dan Bolton's not far away, nor is Bart Harrison. They're trying to get back into contention. But with both of them having had good results, Bolton and Harrison look like they're having the run of bad luck this time.
Yep. There will be a run of bad luck, but Oliver Greenall does have just under a second gap. But Ed Pearson, Alfie Rigby, going into that hairpin was not happy with the move, but Ed Pearson is into second position.
So fourth position now then is Luke Watts, and he's charging up behind Pearson and Rigby. Out of the braking zone, cuts into the hairpin. Nice job, nicely handled. And it's going to be a really tough battle as they charge up the far side. So this is going to get quite tricky as they get into the hairpin. They continue that run through the far side, through the right flick, and up towards the braking zone for the final hairpin. It's up the inside. Rigby makes the cutback on Pearson. Watts slots himself on the inside, and there's nothing Pearson can do. McCurris is going to try and get the run around the outside. He holds his footing. This is not going to be easy, and McCurris does think better of it. He has to hang back, and that's lost him a couple of kart lengths. But that was absolutely clinical from Alfie Rigby. So decisive, and Watts managed to get through on the inside there as well. That's really hampered things for Pearson.
Yep, great move from Alfie Rigby. Very unfortunate from Edward Pearson, who is now down in the fifth position, but Alfie Rigby up in a second, and hopefully soon will be challenging for the lead.
Well, Edgar's going to make the move on McCurris, but in front of both of them is Olivia Algieri. Algieri's up at the P5 now. Some great work from Algieri to put himself onto the back of Ed Pearson. He's not really been a factor in the top 6 yet, but now he's up at a P5. He's got a real shot at this, and to be fair, it would be great to see Algieri get onto the podium. He's worked very hard for it over the last couple of seasons of British karting, and a British Championship podium here at Larkhall would definitely be an amazing achievement and a great result for Olivia Algieri. The Welshman still working very hard to push his way further forward. Can he make the move on the fourth place man, Ed Pearson, who's been struggling and shuffling up and down the deck of the last top 5 drivers. So down they come again. This is going to be a good run from Greenall, but Greenall's got a bit of a gap now to Rigby and Watts. Watts is trying desperately to work with Alfie Rigby in order to close up the gap to the leader. Algieri doesn't have any issue battling with Ed Pearson, but this is a race-winning opportunity for Oliver Greenall.
Yep, and they are chowing down on the time of Oliver Greenall now. 0.8 of a second, and it will probably be even lower when they cross the line for this time. As they cross the line, Oliver Greenall will cross the line. Let's see what the gap is now. It's 0.9, so they lost a 10. So Greenall can just take that bit of weight off his shoulders and drive away.
And the fastest man in the race is Olivia Algieri, who made the move on Ed Pearson, so he's up to fourth position now. Algieri is just continuing to carve through this field like a bandwagon, and he's pushing his way to the front. If he can get an opportunity to get into third place, he's going to take it. He's getting support from Pearson now, but Oliver Greenall still leading the way, and it's critical that he hangs on to an advantage he can take. Now, the tricky scenario is going to be is if the rain comes back within the next 4 minutes, we are in for an absolute nail-biter at the front end of the field, because we're 7.5 minutes in, 7.5 to go, and anything can happen now. We've already seen some spattering of rain across the first 2 races. Now, if we see one again, this is going to get pretty spicy.
Yeah, if there is more rain, they will be used to dry conditions by now, so if it does start to rain, it will definitely throw challenge at the drivers, and they will have to act fast on their driving and just control the car whilst that wet period is going.
Olivier Algieri sets another new fastest lap, 50.77. He's absolutely rocketing around this circuit in these conditions. He really seems to love the damp conditions. Pearson, though, is not going to hang around. He makes the move into 4th place. So Pearson back into P4. Algieri going to go with him. And obviously feeling, well, if he's fast, he can work with Pearson to get onto the back of the other two. Watts and Rigby, though, are getting the work done to close down the gap to Greenall. They were 2/10 quicker than him on the last lap. The gap down to 0.7. And that looks to me like they might have taken at least another 10th, possibly even 2 from this lap as well. Greenall having to balance the cards as he comes out of the final turn. I think that's half a second, you know. It is 0.54. They are catching him.
Yep, Oliver Greenall, if he's not careful within these next couple of laps, he will have Rigby and Watts right on the back of him. He doesn't really have to worry about Ed Pearson and the people behind him because they are about 4-5 tenths behind Watts. So that does mean that it will be a three-way car battle for the lead.
So Pearson is trying to get himself back into contention in 4th position, but Rigby and Watts are chipping away at Greenall's advantage. The gap was half a second at the end of the previous lap. 2 laps ago it was 9/10, so they've been chipping out 0.2 of a second per lap. And they are getting closer and closer still. Working in tandem is definitely helping them chase down Oliver Greenall. There is still a little bit of daylight between the leader and 2nd place, but I'm not sure it's going to last for long in the way things are currently standing. They come over the line, and Oliver Greenall still leads from Rigby and Watts. Pearson 4th from Algieri. Edgar, Macuris, Stilt, Harrison, Bolton and Evan Brown. And then Aidan Lyne is on the back of him. And Ashton Parsons is a little way further back for the Mark Baines team. Still struggling at the moment. Not quite sure what the issue is. But on the back straight, still Oliver Greenall leads the race. But Rigby, Watts and now Pearson are joining the fray. Pearson's going to make a very late attempt to get past Watts. That had to be bailed out of as Jessica Edgar makes the... Wait a minute, where's Olivier Algieri gone? Algieri's now behind Jessica Edgar. So Edgar's got the move into... 5th position, so Algieri back down to P6. I wondered for a moment if Algieri was our first retirement of the finals for this weekend, but still all 13 of them running well. After 30 of them completed the IAME Cadet final, all of them that started it. Amazing to see how clean the race is, considering how tricky the conditions are. I thought in greasy conditions we were going to have drivers spat out to the barriers left, right and centre. Do you know what? The driving standards have been superb.
Yeah, they've been taking the conditions into account and driving as the car is needed. Very controlled racing, and no one has retired from any of the finals so far. But it will be interesting to watch the seniors and juniors yet to come.
So now Algieri's going to have a big lunge on the inside of Jessica Edgar in the hairpin, and he nails that overtaking move. Nicely done. Jessica Edgar fighting back immediately to avert any threat from Theo Macuris. But a very nice battle for 5th position as the leaders go onto the far side of the circuit. They've come off the banked hairpin and now cutting through the chicane into the final turn. Running just a little bit deep, but all okay as long as they're legal. And Greenall leads the race by 0.3 now to Alfie Rigby. Luke Watts is half a second behind the race leader. Ed Pearson in 4th from Edgar, Algieri, Macuris, Stilt, Harrison, Bolton and Brown. Brown and Lyne are still duelling. In fact, Aidan Lyne has actually got past Evan Brown on this occasion as they continue to swap positions in their fight for 11th place. The leaders come back onto the back straight, and it's still Greenall, Rigby in 2nd, Watts in 3rd, Pearson's dropped back in 4th position. But then Edgar back into 5th position now, having made the pass back on Olivier Algieri. And Theo Macuris down into 7th position as we know. Sun starting to come out here as a big lunge from Bart Harrison. He and Dan Bolton both get on the inside of Gabriel Stilt. That's put them into 8th and 9th respectfully, but Oliver Greenall is running out of time to hang on to this, and Alfie Rigby is closing down the gap.
Yep, with 3 minutes left to go, Alfie Rigby is right on the back of Oliver Greenall. So if Oliver Greenall does not just start defending soon, he will have Rigby and Watts both in front of him.
The thing is, you've got to time defending right, especially in these greasy, slippy conditions. It's never really quite certain who is going to get the best draw, the one who defends or the one who attacks, especially in these greasy conditions. But the tyres will be absolutely scorching at this point with no rain out on the circuit now and the sun threatening to come out. They've obviously been running at it for 12 and a half minutes, so now those tyres are going to be absolutely churning around this circuit. It's all going to be about who can control it in the last couple of laps, as Watts does not go for the move on Rigby. Rather, he assists him to get closer to the back of Oliver Greenall's car. And still, we've got that amazing scrap between Evan Brown and Aidan Lyne for 11th position further back. And they are still at each other's throats. Across the line again, Down to 0.34 is the gap between Greenall and Rigby. Greenall just trying to edge out a little bit, and all he needs to do is just hang on to this for the last 3-4 laps or so of the race, depending on when they cross the line. But it's so tricky.
Yeah, very tricky for the drivers to keep it on track. I'm surprised there has been no retirements yet, but it will be tricky for Greenall to defend from Rigby and Watts, who are putting a lot of pressure on right now as they come down into the hairpin. They have dropped back a tiny bit, but they're still not out of contention for that lead.
Well, I think Greenall is now on the defensive. He realises that they are very close, so he was very cautious and very conservative into the hairpin. That actually caught Rigby and Watts out a little bit. They overshot into the braking zone for the tight left hairpin on the run on the new section. Now they come out of the final corner and over the line again, and Greenall has averted the crisis for another lap and actually extended another 100th of a second in terms of a lead. So far so good. If Greenall can continue to do that, he still has the opportunity to continue to hang it out in the lead of the race. But what a sensational battle it is turning into. On the back straight again, as Greenall hangs on. Rigby and Watts still giving chase. Ed Pearson trying to stay with them in fourth position as they come down to the braking zone. 3 of them will duel. The second they start dueling, Ed Pearson's going to attach to the back bumper of Luke Watts. Oh, a big move from Alfie Rigby. He comes from a long, long way back and goes for the lead and gets it on Oliver Greenall. Greenall definitely didn't see that move coming. Neither did we, and now Watts slots in behind Greenall, tries to tuck in on the underside. Ed Pearson has caught them. It's a 4-way dogfight.
And now it's going to be Rigby who's going to have to try and defend for the lead. He's taking it very slow through the corners, trying not to get into any trouble. But Watts is going to have to defend from Pearson on these next 2 laps, because these will be absolutely crucial for the race lead.
Well, they disappeared from view down to that chicane and hairpin, and that tends to be where we have an awful lot of good overtaking moves. And it's where we saw a couple of incidents on the last lap of the previous races and heats. They come up towards the hairpin again. And it's Rigby versus Greenall, still for the victory. Olivier Algieri has crept back into the fight. He's in 4th position now. How did he do that? Ed Pearson down to 6th. Braking, careful. A lot of drivers battling and holding the inside line as they defend. And Olivier Algieri is desperate to try and find some space on Luke Watts as they hang on to that inside line. Desperate not to lose an overtaking move. But Greenall's going to now have to try and pitch it round the outside of Alfie Rigby into the final hairpin. Rigby will defend to the inside. Greenall's going to try and cut back. Rigby slows them up in the inside line as they go into the final lap. And it's 7 of them, all in a line. Rigby, Greenall, Watts, Algieri, Edgar, McCurris, Pearson. I can't predict a winner.
Yep, Rigby defending very well, but is it just me, or does Oliver Greenall look like he has a front nose cone fairing pushed in?
That would be a disaster for his championship aspirations, but if you've spotted it and it's called correct, then Greenall, still there in 2nd position, trying desperately to work on Alfie Rigby. Rigby is holding them all up as they come through towards the chicane and hairpin sections again, hanging on to the inside line. Billy Owen Greenall manages to find the space, and there's contact further back. Pearson up on 2 wheels, Harrison on the grass. They've carried on, but that's put them out of the equation, and now Rigby runs wide, and there's contact further back. Contact. That's Stilp and Bolton. Stilp and Bolton have come together. But the checkered flag is nearly in the air, and Algieri's trying to cut through. There's pushing and shoving all the way through, and Greenall's going to get to the line first. Algieri in 2nd place, and Rigby in 3rd. My goodness, what a finish. That was so crazy. Bolton and Stilp, unfortunately, off the circuit. And we spoke too soon. There are retirements as the pair of them have come off of the top hairpin up towards the banking. So unfortunately, Stilp and Bolton got a little bit too close together. And the 2 of them are now out of the race, unfortunately. But what a showdown to the finish. Oliver Greenall hanging on in front of Olivier Algieri, with Alfie Rigby 3rd from Luke Watts, Theo McCurris, Jessica Edgar, Ed Pearson, Bart Harrison, Evan Brown, Aidan Lyon and Ashton Parsons, with Dan Bolton and Gabriel Stilp obviously out on the final lap. What a finish.
Yep, and it looks to me, because of that final corner, it looks like Alfie Rigby and Oliver Greenall both have nose cone pushed in.
Well, if they both do, then that could give the victory to Olivier Algieri. What a result that would be if that's the case. There was a heck of a lot of nudging and pushing and shoving around the final lap. So a couple of them may well find themselves with front fairing penalties. It was getting very desperate in the braking zones as everybody wanted to hold on to that inside line. Drivers were practically married to the white line on the inside of the corners as they were desperately trying to hang on to it. But definitely wasn't easy to predict a winner that time, and my goodness me, that was quite a final lap, Guy. I genuinely didn't know which way to look.
Yeah, but very interesting final lap. Olivier Algeria will definitely be happy with that result, though. He was further back. He's came from 10th to 2nd. Absolutely beautiful drive and amazing drive from Oliver Greenall as well to take the win. It would be unfortunate if he does have a front fairing problem, though.
Well, there could be 3 or 4 drivers in that mix after the squabble on the last lap. You never know, but that's for the officials. That's not for us. So we'll have to see what happens, but my goodness, that was a rip-roaring race, and that really had everything. That had pathos, that had drama, that had an amazing fight back, that underdogs charging their way through to the front, and you never know. Olivier Algeria, it looks to me for the moment as though he's bagged himself his first British Championship podium of the season. That would be amazing. Well done to Olivier Algeria, and well done to Greenall and Rigby for hanging it out there despite how roughhouse it was in the final lap. They both managed to cross the line in the top 3. I genuinely thought one of them was going to go in the drink, but no, they both managed to bring it home in the top 3 positions, and that was quite the fight. So now we move on from the incredible prospect of a battle in the Mini X30s to one in the Junior X30, and it's been very unpredictable, it has to be said, in Junior X30 this time, because we've seen some of the familiar faces at the front end of the field show their hand, but the front row of the grid for this one is quite an exciting duel. Let's be fair, it is the number 6 on the front row of the grid for this one. Oh, my apologies. Have we got the seniors out first? Yes, we do have the seniors out first. My apologies. The juniors are obviously going to come up after this one. So the seniors are on track, and that is the number 6 in the seniors on the front row of the starting grid. In second place, it is Sean Butcher alongside the O-plate of Thomas Turner, who has the pole position for the front row of the grid. Great to see those two back at the front end of the field. They've had very unlucky starts to their season, both of them, but now they have, on merit, got themselves up to the sharp end of the field, and it's great to see both Thomas Turner and Sean Butcher filling the front row of the grid. They've been very unlucky in the early stage of the season, so to be starting a very competitive race here at Larkhall from the front end of the field, that's given them plenty to be happy about.
Yeah, I think that will give them a lot of confidence going into this race, and I think they both have a chance of picking up that win. Watch out for Louis Westover, though. He is on the second row of the grid and definitely going to be in contention for that win.
Yeah, he's been very strong right from the start, has Louis Westover, so it's obviously going to be ultra-competitive racing from him again in third position on the starting grid. Alongside him on the grid, though, the danger man is Jack Gordon. He knows this place very well indeed for Strawberry Racing. He's been incredibly strong right from the word go this weekend, and expect him to be challenging for a podium. He will be right at the sharp end of the fray, and he has been lightning all the way through. 2 other drivers who are worth a bit of a punt. Rory Hudson, 5th position on the starting grid. Great to see him back to the front again, and Rory has had a very big struggle in the early phase of the season, so he has totally deserved his fight back to the front. And in 5th position on the starting grid, anything is possible. Even the win from there is very much on the cards for Rory Hudson. He's got the technique, he's got the capability, and he's definitely got the engineering prowess of the team. So let's see what he can do from 5th on the grid. Alongside him, though, the man who nearly took 2 victories at PF International, Gus Lawrence, who's going to have a really exciting battle there from the third row of the grid. Still very much in a strong contention on the championship fight. He lost a few points that he was really disappointed about at Shennington, but he has got a chance to bounce back here from the third row of the grid, especially when you consider that his main championship opposition is behind him on the starting grid for this one. The 4th row of the grid, a pair of champions, and rightfully so. The world champion from 2017, Danny Curl, will start this race from 7th on the grid. Always good to see him back in the British Championships, and he's been ultra competitive right from his start of the season with the Jade squad. And alongside him on the grid, it is the British champion in juniors and the multiple Euro title winner, Clayton Ravenscroft. He's really having a strong 2019 again. He needs a little bit more luck to go his way because the speed has definitely been there, but the results have been harder to come by. But that is because over the course of last year, he asserted himself as one of the new kings of X30 in junior in the UK and senior in Europe last year. Now a senior of both, and he's going to be really exciting to watch in this battle. And then in behind them, we've got 2 drivers to round out the top 10 who are definitely worth a cheeky bet on. 25, Matthew Hudson, has been very strong all weekend and has genuine potential here to get to at least the podium, possibly even higher than that. And then alongside him, finally, some good news for Archie Tillett, who's been very competitive all season, is with the PF International squad, has a great package underneath him, has never really had the opportunity to deliver. Things have got away from him for various different reasons in the start of the year, but he's back where he belongs, in the top 10, fighting his corner with plenty of determination. Hopefully, he's going to stay there for the rest of the weekend, and potentially even a top 5 finish is on the cards. So we'll see what the drivers at the front end of the field can do. But Senior X30 in 2019, Kai, I mean, the last couple of seasons I've been watching it, it's been very competitive. This year, it's kicked it up a gear.
Yeah, we have a lot of fast drivers in this championship, and a lot of fast drivers that will be running for that win as the green flag flies and they all go out onto the grid. This will be an interesting one. Let's see what happens.
Yep, 15 minutes on the board once again. And it's Thomas Turner and Sean Butcher from Louis Westover and Jack Gordon, Rory Hudson and Gus Lawrence, Danny Curl and Clayton Ravenscroft, Matthew Hudson and Archie Tillett, then Cole Kilner and Alexander Wang from Morgan Porter and Nelson King, then Derek Morgan and Oliver Hodgson, Thomas Wood and Ruben Moyer from Henry Ayres and Abigail Ross. And then we have Eduardo Cosseteng and Jensen Brown from Thomas Westworth, who is there with Ben Hodge. And then a little further back in the pack, it is going to be Alexander Patterson and Callum Driscoll from Matt Armstrong and Angus Morsdale, Josh Graham and Axel Laflamme, Reese Ushijima, Harry Barlow, and Tom Nippers is the 33rd man in. So the competitors obviously trying to get some heat into the tyres and brakes as they try and warm themselves up, ready for a fight. It's been a long battle to get to this stage. Reduced grid numbers, but that means no repecharges, so every driver has just had to fight tooth and nail. What this does mean, though, for the drivers out there is that they basically have a second chance. If their weekend hasn't gone quite to plan yet, they do still get the opportunity to fight their way back.
Yep, 2 rounds in one weekend will definitely pose a threat tomorrow, because it will be a completely different race, a brand new start. It's like a brand new weekend, and it will be interesting to watch out tomorrow to see who's at the front of the grid.
So Turner, Butcher, Westover and Gordon from Hudson, Lawrence, Curl, Ravenscroft, Matthew Hudson and Archie Tillett. That is a very competitive top 10, and there are several drivers in the fray who are going to continue this battle as they continue to squabble forward. The drivers are obviously in the mix as they try and dice for position on the rolling lap. This is going to get quite interesting for the competitors.
Attention pits. You have IAME drivers, number 31, Monday Junior, 46, Nathan Ty, to the steward's office, their parent or guardian, or secretary.
Away they go, Senior X30 off and away as they charge forward through the first couple of corners, and it's a cracking start for Thomas Turner, who launches himself to the front end of the field. No problem at all for him. The Mark Litchfield Racing driver puts himself nicely in position as they go through the far side of the course and then back up the straight on the far side. Yellow flags waving at the chicane and then quickly withdrawn. So there's going to be a few drivers out of position. Sean Butcher fights back to get into second position once more. Tussles his way past. That's Rory Hudson. Great start from Hudson to make his way through and up the order. Now several drivers are down in the pack as they all shuffle the deck and charge for position. Angus Morsdale going a little bit deep into the hairpin on the left-hander, and Ruben Moyer struggling in the midfield as well as he loses ground, and a couple of drivers going sideways. But it's Thomas Turner with a big lead on Sean Butcher. Rory Hudson's next from Westover, then Jack Gordon, Danny Curl and Gus Lawrence. I'm trying to pick out a few of the other drivers in the mix. Clayton Ravenscroft has fallen to ninth behind Matthew Hudson, then Morgan Porter, Derek Morgan, Thomas Wood and Cole Kilner. But Thomas Turner has already got a second on the rest of the field. Daylight between him and the rest of the field.
Yep, Louis Westover unfortunately dropped down to 4th position, but he'll be fighting back as soon as possible. Rory Hudson up in 3rd from 5th, so it'll be interesting to see who changes order and who stays the same.
Well, Danny Curl's made the move for 5th position. He gets through. So Danny Curl's made the move on Jack Gordon, and that puts him into 5. So let's see if he can get up to 4 on the inside of Louis Westover, who is his next target, right in behind his teammate Rory Hudson. But Westover's not hanging around. He makes the move on the inside of the final turn and gets into 3rd position behind Sean Butcher. Danny Curl is trying to get through. Hudson retaliates on his teammate Westover through the first corner, and Hudson gets back through, and Danny Curl gets through as well. So Danny Curl up to 4th position at the expense of Louis Westover, who now drops back to 5th position. What a shame, as now we have Westover down to 5th behind Curl. 3rd place, though, is still Rory Hudson. Not for long. There goes Danny Curl into 3rd position, in through the right-hander. Lovely job So now Turner is your leader, Butcher second and Danny Curl is third. Fourth place for Hudson, that's Rory Hudson. Then it is Westover from Lawrence, Ravenscroft, Gordon, and then it's Matthew Hudson, the 25, who is next up. Great race from those two. Morgan, then Morgan Porter. So Derek Morgan in front of Morgan Porter, just to be confusing. Ravenscroft slices up the inside of Gus Lawrence. That's crucial in terms of championship points. Nice move there on the inside, and that puts him up another position. So a really strong battle as the racers continue to charge their way through the field. Some good competition from a lot of the drivers through the field. Moving up progress, Derek Morgan's up 5, Porter's up 2, Wood's up 5 places as well. Oliver Hodgson is up 3, he's really struggling this season. And Alexander Patterson, the local man, has made up 5 places. But the leaders, 1, 2 and 3, have started to stretch out the gap. It could be a very interesting race for the guys behind, but for the leading 3, they already seem to have checked out.
Yep, the top 3 just pulling away a little bit, especially Thomas Turner and Sean Butcher. Both have a massive gap to the drivers behind, so that does help them when it does come to the actual finishing position, as Thomas Turner has around a 2-second gap to Sean Butcher behind.
So it's going to continue to be a very tough fight for the drivers. Thomas Turner, Sean Butcher and Danny Curl in the top 3. Rory Hudson has Louis Westover all over the back of him as Ravenscroft again tries to assert himself back into the top 5, really struggling over the first part of the season to get the consistency in those results after PF. But now Ravenscroft is getting himself back onto it. He's got through Westover, so Ravenscroft past Westover, and that puts him up into 5th place. Turner still has a massive lead. It's been a pretty exciting few weeks for the Mark Litchfield Racing team after Tom Leben won in the European IAME at Castelletto, and now Thomas Turner is looking to continue the trend for the squad in Britain here at Larkhall, the West of Scotland Kart Club. 2nd place for Sean Butcher, but for how much longer? Because the world champion from 2017, Danny Curl, is pushing like mad as he tries to close up. And Danny Curl, all of a sudden, despite missing the opening round of the season, genuinely looks like a threat. I think we had somebody coming to a stop on the main straight. So it looks to me as though we had somebody coming to a standstill. Can't see who that is from my current position. We'll try and figure out who it is now. That appears to me to be Tom Nippers. I think it's Tom Nippers who's out of the race. That's a real shame. The Welshman unfortunately has no further part to play in this race. And of course he can try again tomorrow, but a very tricky situation for Tom Nippers. He's now out of the action. Turner is your leader, and Danny Curl in 2nd. He's already dealt with Sean Butcher. Goodness me. Now, this is going to be an interesting dynamic. Can Thomas Turner, the British Open champion, hang on in front of a world champion from 2017?
It will definitely be a question to be answered, and we will find out in this race, because we will not know until the end of the race. I think Thomas Turner will be able to hold on to the lead, but Danny Curl will definitely put up a fight to try and get that race win.
In terms of their fast laps, the fastest lap of the race has obviously been a bit of a changeable scenario for a lot of the competitors as they continue to move the goalposts around. A 49.07 is the fastest lap for Thomas Turner, a 49.08 for Danny Curl. There's nothing in it, basically. 100th of a second is nothing in karting. But of course, it is the difference in time qualifying between one position and another. A 49.12 for Danny Curl, a 49.14 for Thomas Turner. So Turner is hanging on to the pace for the moment, but we've got 9 minutes to go and the sun is out here, starting to cook the circuit a little bit more to a crisp. And that means that it's going to cook the tyres a little bit further, a little bit harder. And obviously the long tests that the guys would have done last week can start to come back into play, but not all of them will have been here to do that. So this is all about tyre management now. Thomas Turner has to lead the race comfortably and convincingly, whilst also taking care of the tyres, as Gus Lawrence makes a big lunge on Westover, and he gets through at the banked hip in the right-hander at the far end of the lap. And that's a really nice manoeuvre. So as they get back on terms again, it is Turner, Turner, Curl, Butcher, Ravenscroft, Hudson, Lawrence, then Westover, Jack Gordon, and then Matthew Hudson in front of Oliver Hodgson, Morgan Porter and Derek Morgan. Some really good battles for the competitors as they continue to charge their way forward. But at the front end of the field, this is all about Thomas Turner just managing his pace, managing his tyres. It's easy to lead a race, but it's also very easy to lose it from there.
Yeah, it's very easy to lose the lead. Just one mistake and you'll have the person in second place all over your back end. But it does look like Thomas Turner is pulling away a little bit from Danny Curl. Talking about that, Danny Curl sets the fastest second sector though, so he will gain a 10th in the second sector. Yeah,
that's really important. At this stage of the race, Danny's got to start putting in purple sectors to really make the bid. He goes very wide out of the final corner, but that's because he's pushing hard. He's taken another 10th out of Thomas Turner in the final sector alone. Now, you normally see drivers taking maybe a 10th or two in the first couple of laps of races, but a 10th of a second in one sector is proof that Danny Curl is getting that gap down. He's got a lot of work to do, to be fair, though. He's got to get it down from 2.2 to a race-winning opportunity. And even with 7 minutes to go, that's a tall order. Thomas Turner is no slouch, and he's going to be running out the front end of the field. Meanwhile, Butcher is being caught now by Clayton Ravenscroft, who is running in P4. So the Australian Sean Butcher is doing a good job here to hang on. And Gus Lawrence is running well in 6th position as he now makes his bid on the inside of Rory Hudson. Hudson moves across slightly into the braking zone for the final hairpin and averts the move. So some really good battles in that section of the race. They come off the turn again. Even in the midfield, we've got a good squabble as Ruben Moyer chases after Alex Patterson. And that is Thomas Westworth in the middle of the mix, trying to close up on Moyer and Ross. For the Andy Potter Racing Team, Thomas Westworth just in front of a very disappointed Nelson King. What's happened to his weekend? He's a long way down the order. Axel Laflamme, Reece Ishijima, Ben Hodge, Henry Ayres, Harry Barlow, Callum Driscoll, Angus Mulsdale and Josh Graham right at the far end of the field as they continue to squabble. That's a nice move from Patterson, who finally gets the job done on the inside of 62. And that is that right, 62? No, my apologies, a little further back in the pack, I think. That is going to be the 42 potentially. Ruben Moyer, my apologies. So battling away with Alex Patterson, and then it is the 62. So that's Thomas Wood, my apologies. Cole Kilner battling away with Thomas Wood. I was looking at the wrong end of the field. So up at the far end, Thomas Turner is coming through to lead the race again. Danny Curl has got the gap down to 2.04, but with 5.5 minutes left, 2 seconds, let's be fair, that's a lot of time to make up in 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's been pulling down like a 10th a lap, so that does mean that Thomas Turner is safe for now. Unless something drastic happens, that does mean that Thomas Turner will hold on to the lead.
Well, I suppose it very much depends, Kai, on just how hard Danny Curl is having to push compared to what Thomas Turner is doing. If Turner is easing off a little bit and allowing that 10th of a second to creep in, then that's all well to the good. But if he's at full chat and Danny Curl is just chipping away, then come the end of the race, Thomas Turner's tyres may not be able to handle it in the last couple of laps, and that's when things could really turn in the way of the world champion. This is all about tyre management at this stage of a final, because you've got yourself a decent lead. It's a couple of seconds. That would seem on paper that it's all done and dusted, but in reality it's how you look after the tyres, it's how you relax and how you ease yourself into each sector, ease yourself through every apex. You've got to hang on to the advantage you've built up, but it's very easy to suddenly lose it. Into the final hairpin, Thomas Turner still in front of Danny Curl. The gap was 1.97, it's now 1.93, so Turner is doing everything he can to hang on in front of Danny Curl, and it's an admirable effort from Turner to hang on.
Yep, and with only 4 minutes left, with a 1.9 second gap, I'm guessing he will hold on to lead, but Danny Curl is pushing right to the limit, and he does have Clayton Ravenscroft around 3 seconds behind, so he doesn't really need to worry about Clayton, but it does look like there is a separated top three around here.
Well, that's Ravenscroft up into third place then on Sean Butcher. And now we've got a battle developing and brewing around for fifth place. That is Rory Hudson, Gus Lawrence, Jack Gordon and Oliver Hodgson. And they are scrapping for fifth position in a long line. And one or two of those drivers is going to go for a bold move. Gus Lawrence is going to try and make his bid for P5, and he's been trying to make that move for the last 10 minutes. So essentially Gus Lawrence is now in a difficult situation. He needs to go for his overtake before he is attacked by Jack Gordon and Oliver Hodgson. So some very strong challenges up at the sharp end of the field. It's a very tame Senior X30 final compared to what we've been expecting to see. But Thomas Turner hanging on in front of Danny Curl, and this is going to be an important victory for Thomas Turner's confidence, not the least for his championship attack as well. A win here will definitely give him bags of positivity going into the second half of the weekend, and this will put the feather in the cap to somewhat. It's not easy to beat a world champion, and Thomas Turner is definitely doing that. He's just managing the kart as he needs to. 1.89 the gap was, now it's 1.75. The tide is turning slightly. Can Thomas Turner still hang on for the last 2.5 minutes? If Danny Curl keeps taking 0.2 of a second out per lap of the gap, then there is a chance that in the closing stages Turner's going to have to play defensive.
Yep, Turner will be under pressure if Danny Curl does keep chipping away like this. Now 1.7 seconds and 2 minutes left on the clock. This will be a run of the clock and a battle against time.
Well, Sean Butcher hasn't given up on third place, as Gus Lawrence has finally got into fifth place on Rory Hudson, and Hodgson's made the move on Jack Gordon as well. So Lawrence up to fifth, Hodgson up to seventh, and now he's going after Rory Hudson. But Turner comes across the line. What is his lap? It's a 49.25. Curl does a 49.15. The gap down to 1.6. So a really tough challenge now for Thomas Turner to hang on to it for the last minute and 40. If I was Thomas Turner, I'd still be pushing like crazy, but I would not even think about defending. You've got to hold the racing line. You've got to keep pushing those tyres right to the bitter end. It's not going to be easy to hang on, but if you go defensive now, you just open up an opportunity for Danny Curl to creep in up the inside. And Curl is pushing and trying to take as much from Thomas Turner as possible. Meanwhile, Butcher... Oh, Ravenscroft's overshot! Ravenscroft's gone straight on! I think he's had a brake failure. Ravenscroft just goes straight into the barriers at the tight left-hand hairpin. Nobody was around him. It just looks to me as though he had a brake failure. Went straight on into the barriers. He didn't hit a wet patch because there's no wet patches on the circuit. Ravenscroft goes straight into the barrier. It looks like the brakes failed, and that means to say that his championship aspirations are in tatters.
Yeah, that's very interesting to see Clayton Ravenscroft go out with a race like that, because it is not like Clayton to make just a simple mistake like that. There must have been a problem with the car. You can see him absolutely devastated with what's ever happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was driving error by Ravenscroft in the slightest. That looked to me, he was trying to get the braking line for the corner, and whether the throttle stuck open or the brakes failed or whatever it was, but he just went straight on. And Clayton Ravenscroft has nailed that hairpin every single lap this weekend, and yet somehow he has gone straight on at that hairpin. Definitely either a sticking throttle or a failed brake, but whatever it is, it's game over for Ravenscroft. And with 5 seconds to go, Turner has got 1.4 on Danny Curl, but Sean Butcher is now promoted to third, and Gus Lawrence, Ravenscroft's main title opposition, is promoted into fourth position. Well, that is a big shock in terms of the British Championship title fight now, as Thomas Turner is about to score big and Danny Curl likewise. So, drama here at Larkhall as Clayton Ravenscroft runs back across the circuit to take up his position over the pit wall, and he's absolutely devastated. But Thomas Turner is going to go into the final lap with Danny Curl 1.3 seconds back. And as far as Thomas Turner is concerned, this is a big opportunity now in the Drivers' Championship. Steve Ravenscroft embraces Clayton. Totally not his fault. What a shame. Devastating, especially when your driver's put in all that hard work to fight back, and he's had something taken away from him there.
Yeah, you can see Clayton and Steve both very devastated with what's ever happened. Clayton just describing what's happened to the mechanic, but that is not like Clayton to make a mistake like that, and it does look like Thomas Turner has secured this win.
Could even have been an engine seize at that point on the circuit, but we'll find out later. But out of the final turn, Thomas Turner has done the business, and he takes a brilliant victory in front of Danny Curl. Third position, what a drive from the Australian. Sean Butcher gets his first podium of the season in the finals, and Gus Lawrence scores big in fourth position. Oliver Hodgson is fifth from Jack Gordon. Admirable effort from Jack to be top six. Rory Hudson, Morgan Porter, Louis Westover and Matthew Hudson in the top 10. But we're all still absolutely reeling from the shock retirement of the championship leader, Clayton Ravenscroft, with what looked to me like either a sticking throttle or a failed brake pedal. Whatever it was, It's cost the team and Clayton Ravenscroft dear. And there's a lot of head scratching going on at KR Sport here. And that's blown the championship fight wide open.
Yep, and now that has opened the gaps for any other drivers that have had good results in this race. That does mean that they can take the championship lead now.
Wow. Big drama here at Larkhall. Just as we were settling in for a fairly nimble and tame finish, that happens. And we just... Well, that's changed everything. One man's disaster is another man's fairy tale, of course, and there's going to be plenty of drivers up and down the grid, none the least of whom is Gus Lawrence, who will have a bit of a wry smile for the situation, but certainly for Clayton Ravenscroft and KR Sport, it is devastatingly cruel luck as he disappears from the race with what we can only assume is one of three things. It's either an engine seize, a brake failure, or a sticking throttle, whatever it is. It certainly didn't look like driver error from Clayton Ravenscroft, and that is devastating in terms of the championship fight. But for everybody else in Senior X30, it's an opportunity, and an open door has now been given to all of the competitors in Senior X30. This title fight is now well and truly on. And after 5 rounds, at least the only consolation Clayton Ravenscroft and the team can have is that they're competitive, they're fast, and they can hit the reset button tomorrow and do it all again and fight for victory. But it's going to be a very interesting evening down at KR Sport, not for the right reason. An opportunity to be on the podium again, washed away. Well, there is just one race to go, and that is the Junior X30 final. And over the course of the weekend, that has already seen some absolutely incredible high-octane drama around the circuit. And it's an all-Strawberry Racing front row. Joe Taylor, well settled into his berth at Strawberry Racing now. He's only been in that team about 3 weeks. And alongside him on the grid is Josh Rowledge, again, one of the top competitors for Strawberry. And right on the front row of the grid as always, well, very nearly always. Third on the grid, a very strong performance this weekend from Tyler Reid, the Dan Holland Racing driver, thoroughly deserving his spot on the second row of the grid, and with a golden opportunity to take a victory. This really would be a stellar performance from him if he could get there. And alongside him on the second row of the grid is Oliver Gray, always a top 5 competitor in Junior X30 these days, and definitely up for the scrap. Fifth position is Aaron Walker, still making massive progress in Strawberry Racing's team, and a top 5 start for the final is absolutely deserved. Alongside him on the grid is the championship competitor, Caden McQueen, who's had a very tough season, but a very exciting and stupendous one. And he has been right at the sharp end of the field ever since first practice at PF International in March. And it's going to be really exciting to see what he can do to continue his battle as the racing continues. But Caden McQueen definitely in with a strong chance of not only the race win here in the final, but the championship lead as well, as he continues to storm his way further forward. And he'll want to extend the gap at the top end of the table rather than see it decrease. So this is a great chance for McQueen to continue his assault at the front end of the field. And obviously a great race victory here would continue that gap and open it up. 52 is next up in the mix. That is Tom Edgar, 7th on the starting grid for Fusion Motorsport on the inside of the 4th row. Beside him, persistence pays off for Dan Ginchard as he's there on the inside of the pit lane, of course. The 8th position spot for Dan Ginchard. A change of chassis, a change of team as he moves across to the Persistence Motorsport squad on the Red Speed chassis. Only made the switch in time for Adria a couple of weeks ago, and he's been absolutely on fire ever since. So let's see what he can do at the sharp end of Junior X30. Freddie Spindlow and Tom Leben will share the 5th row of the grid. Freddie Spindlow finally back to his best again in the top 10, and things looking to go his way, hopefully, in the Junior X30 final. A podium is definitely a possibility for Freddie Spindlow as he continues his charge forward. And then 10th position, what a month Tom Leben is having. Only a couple of weeks ago, he stormed the Crows at Castelletto in Italy when the pint-sized squad, with only one awning to call their own against the might of the big teams, went and took the European race victory at Castelletto in fine style. Tom Leben definitely in the form of his life at the moment, and in the top 10 of the Junior X30 British field is exactly where he deserves to be. So let's see what he can do. Again in the top 10, ultra competitive. Thanks, Kai, for hanging out with me in the commentary box, and hopefully you'll be back again to do the same thing again tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back tomorrow for more commentary. Can't wait for it.
Thanks, Kai. So the top 10 on the Junior X30 grid, very evenly matched as they battle away for supremacy. Joe Taylor and Josh Rowledge, Tyler Reid and Oliver Gray, Aaron Walker and Caden McQueen, Tom Edgar and Dan Ginchard from Freddie Spindlow and Tom Leben. This is going to be quite a race, and every single one of those 10 drivers, for my money, has the chance to win. There's not a single one who can dominate here. They're all going to be very even. So, Josh Rowledge and Joe Taylor from Oliver Gray and Tyler Reid. Taylor on the inside for pole position, Rowledge on the outside, Tyler Reid and Oliver Gray second row, from Aaron Walker and Caden McQueen, Tom Edgar and Dan Ginchard, then Freddie Spindlow and Tom Leben. Then it's Georgi Dimitrov, the man who dominated in the first round at PF. Chris Harnan is alongside him on the grid, Josh McLean, and a late start for Alex Lee, who finally gets himself going, but that's going to drop him to the back of the field. Hopefully he can get himself back into his position before the start. Then Aaron J. Walker for Dan Holland Racing. Alongside him is Dan Butterworth. Then it is Andy Potter Racing's man Reggie Dewey on the Schumacher chassis. And beside him is Sam Heading. Harvey Ryby for the Pierce Sexton Racing team. Alongside him is Zach Meakin. So great progress made by Harvey Ryby this weekend. Cian Shields, frustrated considering his pace in qualifying. He lines up on the 11th row alongside Sam Hawthorne. And then Jamie Mead and Kasper Skuza from Sam Shaw and Douglas Bolger. And then Drew Davidson, Alessandro Senanetti, Oscar Joyce, Alex Moody, James Walker, Max Meir, Oliver Duffel and Ivan Lomliev. So all 34 of the drivers will battle away for supremacy. And at the back of the field, Alex Lay is hoping to get himself back into his original starting position of 14th. Otherwise, he'll have to go off P34. But a very exciting race this one promises to be. Nothing is ever simple in Junior X30, especially not around here. So let's see what the competitors will give us. It's going to be very tight, very technical, and a real sharp race is in the offing. Taylor, Rowledge, Reid, Gray, Walker, McQueen, Edgar, Ginchard, Spindlow, Leben. That is one heck of a top 10. Georgi Dimitrov, the man who led the championship from the dominant force of the opening round, is in 11th place alongside the Flying Dutchman Chris Harnan. This is going to be quite an incredible battle. Out of the final turn, looks as though it's going to be fairly even, and it's a cracking start. Away they go, and Josh Rowledge tries to tuck it to the inside line with Joe Taylor. Joe Taylor gets through to the lead. Rowledge has to settle for second place in the first couple of corners as the field stretches its way through. No major dramas already as they get up to the hairpin on the far side of the circuit. Hopefully it's going to be a clean one as they make their way back up the straight. And it's Taylor in the lead, Rowledge in second. Third place, that looks to me like Tyler Reid has held on there for the Dan Holland Racing squad. Up to fourth place though, up to fifth position I should say, has got Walker. Caden McQueen is now in P4. And there's some good moves through the field as drivers are already getting stuck in. Some good overtaking moves in the mid-pack as several drivers try to charge their way through. So Taylor in front of Rowledge. And third position still Tyler Reid, but now it's Caden McQueen. Reid down to fourth, and up to fifth comes Oliver Gray on the inside of Walker. And there's a few drivers making amazing charges through the field already. Some big places made up. Harvey Ryby has made up 8 places at the end of the first lap. What a start from Harvey Ryby. Up to 11th position. Josh McLean is up 4 to 9th. Harnan's made progress up to 10th place. Caden McQueen, of course, is up 3 to 3rd. Reggie Dewey's making progress. Cian Shields is up 5 places. Sam Shaw is up 7. So some great starts all the way through the field as Caden McQueen tucks in behind Josh Rowledge. 1, 2 and 3. Taylor, Rowledge, McQueen. Then it is Tyler Reid in 4th position. They come through on the far side of the circuit, and Caden McQueen's got second, got first! Caden McQueen to the front of the field! Rowledge gets through on his teammate, and McQueen just thinks, right, that's an open door, I'll take you both then! And now Rowledge will dive on the inside of Caden McQueen, and surely he's going to take the lead. No, he doesn't! He runs wide as McQueen gets back through on the inside line! McQueen versus Rowledge. Absolutely amazing in the opening stages. It's already becoming quite a race as they go on to the back straight. And Caden McQueen has got back in the lead. Josh Rowledge is determined to get through, and McQueen chops across. We're already getting incredible racing, and we're only 2 minutes in. Taylor in 3rd position. Now the queue is forming. Tyler Reid is 4th. 5th position is the 63 of Oliver Gray. Then Aaron Walker. Then Dan Ginchard. Then Josh McLean. And next up is the 52. That is Tom Edgar. An amazing battle. And it's only just getting started as McQueen hangs it out in front of Rowledge and Taylor. Then it is the 27 of Tyler Reid, 63 Oliver Gray, then Walker. Ginchard now in front of Josh McLean. Great racing from Ginchard as he fights his corner. This is going to be a really interesting final as we get into the second phase of the race now. Drivers settling into the queue. But now they need to start thinking about race strategy. You can't push the tyres too hard too soon. Although Rowledge is going to go for the lead. Rowledge takes the lead into the square right. And Caden McQueen lines up behind him. McQueen is going to try and go for the inside line, is he? No, he hangs back. Oh, and a bit of a shovel as on the inside line, Ginchard is going to get the run. And Tyler Reid is run wide. Ginchard closes down with Aaron Walker. And Ginchard gets through into P5. My goodness, some great racing in the top 10. And now there's a bit of shuffling as unfortunately it looks to me as though Georgia Dimitrov has been shuffled down the pack. Ginchard through into 5th past Aaron Walker. McLean is 7th, then Edgar, Harnett, Spindlow, Tyler Reid, Harvey Ryby, Georgia Dimitrov and Reggie Dewey. Kean Shields makes up another place, up at a 15th. So some good positions made up. Kean Shields flying the Saltire on home soil is of course trying to charge his way further, and 6th place is made up is a very good start. 11 minutes to go. Rowledge is your leader. McQueen 2nd. Will he go for the overtake? No, he's going to hang back in there. Joe Taylor right in behind him, of course. Oh, and that's McLean trying to get the run on Aaron Walker. And Aaron Walker shuts the door and Tom Edgar gets shunted backwards and up in the air, 2 wheels. That looks like a really cooked up break for Freddie Spindlow. Reid goes on the inside. Spindlow goes wide. And through comes the 71. That is Harvey Ryby. Harvey Ryby's having a great race there at Larkhall, and now he dives to the inside of Tyler Reid. It's the best run I've ever seen from Harvey Ryby. Now Reid gets back on the inside and takes him on. But Harvey is proving he's got the mentality to mix into the front end. Terrific stuff. Some great performances here in the British Championships as more great efforts are made. Caden McQueen is going to try and hang on, but Rowledge has got him on the inside. Rowledge takes the lead back, and now Taylor's trying to get on the inside of McQueen. McQueen shuts the door. This is going to be a race-long duel, and now McQueen back on the inside. Rowledge on the switchback gets him straight back. Oh, let this go on forever, please. And there's a real shuffle as the drivers are squabbling in that tight hairpin. Some really difficult race squabbles for the drivers as now McQueen is trying to get all over the back of Rowledge. Taylor's still there in 3rd. 4th is Oliver Gray and 5th is Dan Ginchard. The 5 of them have gone together. Harvey Ryby still driving a great race there in 9th, having made up 10 places. Kean Shields is in 10th. How did he do that? He's made up about 5 places in 1 lap. Brilliant from the Flying Scotsman. And now on the far side, we're going to see a really good battle for the top 5. Here is Rowledge leading this time from McQueen, Taylor, Oliver Gray, and in 5th place is Dan Ginchard fighting fast. McQueen's going to try and make the lunge, is he? No, but up the inside, Oliver Gray makes the move into 3rd. Past Joe Taylor. Ginchard sticks his nose in there as well and gets the place. Taylor's got nowhere to go, but he hangs into the inside line. Ginchard now gets the switchback and goes off the inside line into 4th position. Great run from Ginchard. Now we've got a run up the inside of Ginchard as Taylor gets through and Walker gets through. Ginchard has to stop back in, and Josh McLean is next up in line. But Kean Shields has dealt with his teammate Tom Edgar and the 60 of Freddie Spindlow. This is such a competitive race now as the drivers battle on the far side of the circuit. So Josh Rowledge leading Caden McQueen. We've still got 8 3/4 minutes of this to go, and it's still totally unpredictable who's going to get the victory. But out in front it is Rowledge versus McQueen. It looks like it's going to be between these two, but Oliver Gray wants to be involved. Joe Taylor 4th, then Walker, Ginchard, McLean. Then it is Chris Harnan, I think that is. The Dutchman has got himself back into the mix. Yes, in 8th place. Then Harvey Ryby, then Kean Shields. It looks like there's going to be some really good results in the top 10. But out of the final turn, Caden McQueen still pushing Rowledge, trying to get his authority over him. Ginchard, meanwhile, has got to try and shake off Josh McLean. They come through to the final hairpin, and there's a good squabble further down the order. That's what the M Sport, that's the 51 of Sam Hawthorne, and he's duelling with Dimitrov, James Walker, Alex Lee, Alessandro Serenetti and Max Meir. So some good comebacks through the field. A lot of drivers trying to make up progress, but Rowledge, McQueen and Gray have gone on their own, as Aaron Walker has now slotted into 5th position for Strawberry Racing onto the back of his teammate Joe Taylor. And into the hairpin. McLean is not going to go for Ginchard just yet. Chris Harnan's there in 9th, and Kean Shields has caught the back of Harvey Ryby and is now challenging to get into 9th position as McLean goes for the inside of Ginchard at the banked hairpin and takes the place. Nice move from McLean, and that puts him into P6. So McLean is charging his way forward. McQueen's got back onto the tail of Rowledge, and with 7.5 to go, 7.5 done. As up the inside, that is Edgar taking on Harvey Ryby now. So Tom Edgar gets through on Harvey Ryby, and that shuffles Ryby down to 11th place, but he's still made up 8 of them, and that's a really good run from Harvey Ryby. So let's see on the far side, as there's a good battle between Rowledge and McQueen still for the lead. Gray is there in 3rd. So far, no major moves for the lead in the last 2 or 3 laps. And now Gray's getting impatient. He makes the move on McQueen and gets into 2nd place. Great run. So McQueen gets through. Now Reggie Dewey is tucked into the back of Tyler Reid. A little bit of a shuffle from the 97 of Jamie Mead. And Reggie Dewey's able to pick up the pieces and make up a couple of places. And in behind them, there's the 24 in the mix there. No, sorry. The 27. That is Tyler Reid. 34, Tom Levin is in the mix there after a very frustrating race. Levin goes for the inside of Mead and gets it. But it's Rowledge from Gray now. McQueen in 3rd from Joe Taylor and Aaron Walker. Josh McLean and Dan Ginchard. Then Harnan, Shields, Edgar, Spindlow, Ryby, Mead, Dewey and Levin from Tyler Reid and Sam Hawthorne. Back straight. Josh Rowledge being chased by Oliver Gray. Caden McQueen's not out of it in 3rd position. He's still right there. 4th place is Joe Taylor. 5th is Aaron Walker. Down to the braking zone for the hairpin. They tighten up again. McLean, Ginchard, Harnan, Cian Shields and Tom Edgar, the 2 teammates, 9th and 10th. Some absolutely heroic fight backs, but none better than Cian Shields, who has got himself right back into the hunt now, up to 9th position from 21st on the grid. It's a great run from Cian Shields today. Now he's got to try and close in on the gap back to Chris Harnan in 8th place. The 71, Harvey Ryby going very well. Next up is Reggie Dewey. Good fight back from Reggie, as he's now into 12th place. Some tricky races further down the pack as several drivers are struggling to make an impression. Douglas Bolgers just made a massive lunge on the inside of the first corner and made the move stick there. I think that was on... now, who is that going to be on? The 37, I think. Might have been the 39. My apologies. We'll double check on that one. No, sorry, that was the 31, Oliver Duffel. So Bolger makes a good move there. For the lead now, Oliver Gray is in front of Caden McQueen. So Rowledge is down to 3rd. Caden McQueen now makes the move on Gray and gets there. But there's a little bit of a squabble now as Joe Taylor and Aaron Walker are getting into the hunt. Is that Walker in 5th position making the moves? Yes, it is. And now here comes McLean, Ginchard and Chris Harnan. There's going to be such a duel, such a squabble at the far side of the circuit, as now we've got 8 of them all in a line fighting for the victory with under 5 minutes to go. And there's no telling what's going to happen. It's going to be very close from here. And then we've got a stationary yellow at the chicane. I think there's not 8 of them there now. Yeah, 2 of them have gone from the fray. And up the inside, that's a move made. That is Joe Taylor on Aaron Walker. Ginchard trying to come the long way round in 6th position. There's only 6 of them there now. So Cian Shields is up to 7th place. And up to 8th is Tom Edgar. What's happened to the other 2 in the fray? I think it's Josh McLean who's gone down the order. Ginchard makes the move on Aaron Walker. Josh McLean appears to be missing now. I'm not sure where Josh McLean and the other one is Chris Harnan have gone. They've fallen down the order. So it's McQueen, Gray, Rowledge, Taylor, Ginchard and Walker from Cian Shields. Now up 14 places. 8th is Tom Edgar. Freddie Spindlow, and up 9 places is Harvey Ryby. Up 6 is Reggie Dewey. Up 10 is Jamie Mead. Some great recovery drives. But with 3 minutes 45 on the clock, McQueen is hanging it out there. Josh Rowledge is still in the mix of this in 3rd position, still battling hard. This is going to go all the way to the checkered flag, I know it. Oliver Gray still hanging onto the inside line, trying to squeeze past McQueen, who is absolutely bolted to the inside line in the first tight hairpin to the left, into the right, and he shuts the door firmly on Oliver Gray, who had a late lunge to get through. Now Josh Rowledge has eased up. Rowledge is trying to make his bid to get into 2nd place. There's a little bit of daylight between McQueen in the lead and Gray in 2nd, and that could be crucial as Cian Shields has now caught the leading battle. So too has Tom Edgar. So too has Freddie Spindlow. It's a 9-way scrap for the victory again. So it could go anybody's way. We've got waved yellows at the hairpin. Waved yellows at the hairpin, and it looks like Drew Davidson has fallen from the fray. That is such a shame. Looks as though Josh McLean has got going again in 14th. Chris Harnan has got going in 12th again. So I think we have a retirement down there at the hairpin this time. Yellow flag is still waving. And diving on the inside, several drivers making the lunge on Cian Shields, who gets forced out of the back of the queue. Freddie Spindlow there is up the inside. Goes Joe Taylor on Oliver Gray. Ginchard's going to get there as well into 4th position. So what a battle. McQueen now your leader. Rowledge second, then Joe Taylor, Dan Ginchard. And in 5th place is Oliver Gray. 6th is now Aaron Walker from Edgar, Spindlow and Kean Shields. Spindlow's going to make a late lunge onto the inside of Tom Edgar. Has he made that one stick? No, he's had to wait for his opportunity. And still they duel for position. 2 minutes on the clock. This race is not like any of the other finals we've seen so far in junior this year. This has not been a tactical, calculated battle. It's been a free-for-all. Anybody who's had a chance to lead has taken it. And McQueen now leads from Rowledge. Taylor, Ginchard and Oliver Gray. Gray's going to make a late bid on the inside of Ginchard, and he gets there. Ginchard now needs to keep the door wide shut for the 15 of Aaron Walker. He holds to the inside line, and Walker makes a big check onto the inside of Ginchard. I think he nudged him wide there. So Walker through. Edgar is next up. Then it's Spindlow. Kean Shields trying to make the move on the inside. And Ginchard falls to the back of that queue. Down to 9th position. His hand is in the air. He's really irritated with Aaron Walker. So on the far side of the circuit, they continue their duel. But this is going to be quite an incredible battle for several positions now. But the victory is, of course, still up for grabs. Caden McQueen has a gap to Rowledge. Taylor in 3rd. 4th is Oliver Gray. And then 5th position, that is Aaron Walker in front of Tom Edgar. Edgar's going to try and make his lunge. The Northern Irishman not quite going to make the move on the inside line that time by. But this is going to be an opportunity now for Caden McQueen. McQueen will get his lunge into the final hairpin and continue to lead as we go into the penultimate lap. McQueen has a gap to Rowledge and he might just keep it. Rowledge, Taylor, Gray, Walker, Edgar, Spindlow, Shields and Ginchard. The 10th position is Reggie Dewey. That's a very competitive top 10, but there could be a few drivers with a front fairing or two, so I wonder if it's going to remain that way. But still the battle continues at the sharp end as 9 of them are in the mix for the podium. Caden McQueen is being caught rapidly by Josh Rowledge in the final couple of laps. Rowledge is just throwing caution to the winds now. He can see McQueen in front of him and he wants to go for the move. Is he going to make a late lunge into the hairpin? He nearly does, but McQueen chops across. That was so tight. And McQueen manages to hold on to that inside apex, get the kart stopped on the entry. And now he's going to have to play defensive for the last lap. There's nothing he can do about that. Rowledge is right there with him trying to get through. Last lap, here we go. And McQueen is hanging on for dear life in front of Josh Rowledge. Rowledge is surely going to try and make a bid into the hairpin. I'm watching for the marshal's post to see if there's a yellow flag coming out. Nothing doing, so far so good. As Rowledge and McQueen continue to battle for the victory. And back onto the back straight they come. McQueen just a whisker in front of Rowledge. Taylor's closing in, so is Gray. It's not done yet. As Rowledge tries, McQueen shuts the door. They're filing in 1, 2, 3 and 4 down to the braking zone. McQueen hangs onto the inside line. Taylor holds on to Gray on the inside. Now Walker's in for the scrap. Up to the braking zone for the next hairpin. Rowledge tries, but he's not going to get through. McQueen's hanging on to it. 3 corners to go. Right, left, hangs on in there. Final turn. McQueen's going to hang on to the inside and hope for the switchback. He's going to get it. Caden McQueen takes the victory. Brilliant race win. Absolutely magic. What a sensational fight to the death for Caden McQueen. He hangs on by a whisker in front of Josh Rowledge, Joe Taylor, Oliver Gray and Aaron Walker. Freddie Spindlow comes back to a brilliant 6th place from Tom Edgar. Kean Shields up 13 places to 8th. 9th is Dan Ginchard. And in 10th position, after all of that squabbling, I couldn't quite make it out. I'll have to wait for the timing screen in front of me to come back around again. Reggie Dewey, what a fight back from Dewey. In front of Harvey Ryby and Jamie Mead, who also had amazing fight back drives. James Walker, though, makes up 15 places to 16th in the end behind Josh McLean and Sam Hawthorne. Dimitrov 17th in front of Butterworth, Lee and Serenetti. Then Max Mear, Douglas Bolger, Zach Meakin, Oliver Duffel in 24th. Next up in 25th position, that one goes to Tyler Reid from Sam Shaw, Kasper Skuza, Alex Moody and Ivan Lomliev. And then Aaron Walker, that's Aaron J. Walker, from Oscar Joyce and Tom Leben with the 2 retirements, Drew Davidson and Sam Heading on the first lap. What an incredible show they've given us in the IAME categories here at Larkhall. We get to hit the reset button tomorrow morning and do it all again, of course, from time qualifying. What a battle it's going to be. But the IAME British Kart Championships have again delivered in spades with 4 spectacular races from IAME Cadet, Mini X30, Senior X30 and Junior X30. It's been absolutely stellar. And now we're going to continue into the night session as we practice once again and go overnight and into racing again for round 6 tomorrow. A massive, massive thank you to the West of Scotland Kart Club and all of their officials and marshals who've been absolutely amazing again today. Without them, we could not go racing. A massive thank you to all of the West of Scotland Kart Club officials. You've been absolutely amazing all day long. Don't let anybody take the credit away from what you do. It's absolutely fantastic, and a massive thank you to you. We hope you enjoyed the racing today and you want to do it all again with us tomorrow. If you're listening around the world via Downforce Radio, you can, of course, tune in tomorrow, same time, same place tomorrow. And we'll keep up to date with everything that's happening, of course, over the course of the weekend. I'm Jake Sanson. Hope you've enjoyed it. And we're going to continue again tomorrow with exactly more of the same. Thanks very much. See you tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Tom Ingram and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Jacques Villeneuve. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Bruno Senna. You're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Chris Hoy and you're listening to Downforce Radio.
Hi, I'm Landon Norris and you're listening to Downforce Radio.